Aloha. What's happening, family? It's Top Shelf Cole. I'm fresh off vacation from Hawaii. I'm feeling blessed, back on the mainland with a new sense of clarity. And I want to share with you all some of my experiences, some of the lessons that I learned in Hawaii, straight from my journal that I brought out there. So y'all sit back, relax, and my hope is that I inspire you to do some traveling, see some of the world, some beautiful Mother Earth, so many different scenes and landscapes that I want to encourage you all to just check out. Get out of your zip code and even history. You know, we're so tied into our programming that we grew up with, and I want to encourage you all to open your mind up to different perspectives, not only of learning, but just different perspectives that people around the world grew up with, different cultures and different teachings. So y'all sit back, relax, man. Let me get into some of these experiences and lessons. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And at the end of the video, I've got a fun fact that I'm sure will shock you if you didn't know this fact already. So man, it was crazy. When I first got to Hawaii, we rode through the rainforest, got to the beautiful beach. It was the most scenic drive that I've probably ever taken. And we first stayed in like a B&B on the North Shore. And when I fell asleep, I just had the wildest dream. And I'm not gonna get into the details of the dream, but basically the way I capture it in my journal is that it was like a battle of the Avengers. Like you know how the Avengers, like two sides just rush into war and just boom, and they get to fighting. And so as my trip went on, I learned that there's a big mythology culture as far as gods and goddesses and stories go in Hawaiian culture. And in the lesson that I learned here is that one, the history, the mythology, the gods, the goddesses, every culture has their own version of this. And so to think that your perspective is the only perspective would be a mistake. It's so interesting to hear the different stories being told across the world. And the overall lesson here is that throughout time, there's been a clash between good and evil, right? There's these polar opposites. There's these opposite ends of the spectrum. You've got good and you've got evil. And that battle persists today. Today, as we see it, there are gods clashing. Now, what side are you on? Are you even a powerful enough being to be on either side? Are you even in the fight? And for me personally, I want to involve myself in this fight on the side of good. And so in order to involve myself in the fight or be effective, I've got to grow in power. I've got to become more powerful. And we've all heard that knowledge is power. Now, to me, that's almost incomplete of a statement. I would like to say that applied knowledge is power. And so each and every day I want to grow in power, which first means I've got to grow in knowledge, and then second means I've got to apply this knowledge. So that's lesson number one. Apply the knowledge you have every day. Grow in knowledge and apply it every day so you can become more powerful and you can enter the fight of good versus evil. You can play a part in history. You can possibly make some history yourself. Now, if you're not up to that challenge, then you may want to just turn this video off. You see, at the top shelf, I'm about reaching the peak potential. We're about reaching that peak potential over here. So if you're not interested, well, I'm not really speaking to you. Now, I want to give one more definition of power. And I'm reading this book right now called Know Thyself by Dr. Naeem Akbar. And he gives a definition that I quote in here. It says, power is the ability to obtain and achieve within one's environment the things that maximize survival and continuation, not as a means of dominating others, but rather as a tool for flourishing and self-preservation. So in short, right, power is to be used as a tool. Use power as a tool for flourishing and self-preservation. And when it comes to growing in power, you know, becomes a kind of a scary thing to wield. You know, a lot of times we look at people with power as our enemy, because a lot of times they are our enemy. But if your enemy is powerful, then you better have some power yourself to protect yourself from the enemy, to self-preservation, self-preserve. You want to live, don't you? Well, your enemy may be just trying to destroy you. So you got to keep growing in power. And this is what I learned out there. We went to a luau. Man, the luau was dope. We saw some of the Pacific Islanders get into their bag, you know, spinning the fire and everything. But it was amazing to see how, you know, the male role was very strong, very warrior-like, and the female role had very feminine energy. You know, they was moving the hips, getting it in, you know, and it was beautiful to see. But a lot of this culture has been lost amongst us, especially as a Black American, African American. We lost a lot of this culture, you know, through history. I won't get into all of that, but those different sides of the spectrum, the warrior and the feminine, they coexist beautifully out there. It was beautiful to see. So let me go ahead and get into the next lesson here. Let's see what I got as lesson number 2. Aha. Lesson number 2 is that nature, this earth, is just such a beautiful place that we live on. Here in America, we are so stimulated with technology, social media. We see things on our phone in a couple seconds. I could see someone in Hawaii. So I might see a beautiful video of somebody in Hawaii. Now, by the time I get out to Hawaii, I done seen mountains on my phone. I've seen, you know, waterfalls. I've seen everything that there is to see. I just saw it through the lens of my phone, somebody else's view. So by the time I see it, believe it or not, it's actually difficult to appreciate because I've seen it. I just haven't seen it for myself. So it's this overstimulation that we live with on a daily basis that makes it hard to appreciate the little things. And so there's 2 lessons to be learned here. The first one is sometimes we need to slow down on our overstimulation. Put the phone down. Breathe in some fresh air. Just go on a walk in nature. Just appreciate life itself. There's not always something to be done. There's not always sights to see. There's not always the stimulation that's needed. Sometimes we just gotta slow down and appreciate breath. Appreciate the fresh air. Appreciate the cold water. Appreciate life, family, nature. And then the second lesson is sometimes you gotta pull that warrior out. You know, I haven't been in a fist fight in a long time. I said, man, what if I fought one of these dudes, man? Just say, get out there with me. Man, these dudes are strong. And throughout history, there's war. So there's a lot of war throughout history, even in Hawaii. And, you know, right now I don't feel like I'm at war. I got AC. I'm about to go get in bed and tuck myself in. So I don't really feel like I'm at war. But you always got to stay prepared. Always got to stay mentally prepared. And that's why it's amazing to see different cultures. Because while I imagine that those same warriors that I'm talking about, they might sleep in a cotton bed with warm sheets and AC as well. I mean, probably, you know, it's 2025. But at the same time, we always got to be prepared to go to war, protect what's ours. We always got to be able to protect our women. As a man, you got to be able to protect your lady. You know what I'm saying? So get in the gym, get your mind right. Always challenge yourself in ways to grow and elevate and become stronger. Mental discipline, toughness, all these character traits of a warrior, because you are at war, believe it or not. I am at war every single day. It doesn't always feel that way, but I'm a warrior and I'm always stay ready. When my enemy comes to attack me, I'm gonna be ready. And that is the lesson. Be ready for war, because believe it or not, we're at war. And so that's really about it. I'll post some more pictures. If y'all have any questions, please reach out. Man, it's Top Shelf Cole. Oh, and the fun fact I have, can't leave this out. Now, this fun fact actually comes from a trip I took last year to San Juan in Puerto Rico. And the fun fact I learned is that Christopher Columbus never landed in America. Christopher Columbus landed in the islands down in the Caribbean, but he never landed on the mainland of America. Many of you probably know that. I didn't learn that. I didn't understand that until I traveled to Puerto Rico last year. Now, why is this important, Cole? Why is this a fun fact that you're telling us? Because there's so many fun facts like this that expose the lies that we have grown up under. It exposes the corruption in our school system. It exposes the programming that we grow up with. And so I know many people, I won't be a hypocrite, I am also like this, hang on to these ideals, hang on to these beliefs so tight that we're one-track minded. We don't open our mind up to other possibilities, other histories. But much of the history I've been taught of coming to know now is a lie. And so I encourage you all to travel. I encourage you all to open your mind up to different history and different cultures and learn for yourself. Break down some of the barriers that you were taught. His name wasn't even Christopher Columbus. I'll let you guys find out what his name is, do your own research. But that's it, man. I just want to encourage you all to do your own due diligence. I wanted to share some experience with you all from my Hawaii trip, which was amazing. I encourage you all to get out there. There's volcanoes. The volcano was erupting. We didn't see the lava, but we saw the smoke. So y'all do some traveling, man. Hope you have a blessed evening. Top Shelf Cole. Peace.